Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Sports Stuff Hub Live, episode 28 starts right now. We've had a lot go on since the last show, and we're going to break some of that down tonight. Um, just a quick recap of or a preview of what we're going to be going over tonight. Around 6:30, Dean Smith Richard will be joining me. We're going to be breaking down the draft trades that took place last week, and we'll be going over the ramifications of those trades, and going over some product previews that are, or not previews, going over some upcoming product releases for Panini and Topps that are coming out. Looks like we've got a few things, and tonight we're also going to go over my top 10 prediction of wide receivers for the 2021 season. And we've already got Where's My Lanyards? Those are, Anthony, those are not ready yet. Those are going to be a little while out. Yet lanyards are not going to happen anytime soon. Well, I mean, at least within the next month or two. The badges are what we're working on right now. I'm going to have a couple of prototypes actually made for the card show this weekend for myself, and to show so that people at the card show can see them, and then they can sign up and whatnot. This weekend is when we're going to start doing it. Lanyards, though, are probably a couple months out. I'm doing box cutters, Sports Stuff Hub box cutters first for any kind of logoed paraphernalia. We're going to start with box cutters because we got the breaks coming. Breaks start in less than 3 weeks. They start, 2 weeks from, is it already 2 weeks from tomorrow? Tomorrow's Wednesday. I believe breaks start on the 14th. Yeah, 2 weeks from tomorrow we start break night. So that's coming up quick, and so I'm hoping to have box cutters ready to go so that I can send out. I don't know if they're going to be able to get them to me in 2 weeks because I'm going to try to order like 500. But I don't know if I'll have them ready to go for the first wave of breaks. But once the page goes live, you guys are going to see the breaks page here soon on the website. The breaks page I will have listed live. There will not be any breaks listed on it yet for probably going to be a few days, because I'm not going to list them super early. Excuse me, I need to get my headset out for when Dean jumps on. But I will have them. Oh, sorry about that. Something just froze. That was weird. Anyway, so hopefully I'll have box cutters within the next month or so that I can start sending some of those out for break participants, Sports Stuff Hub logoed box cutters. After that, then it's going to be the lanyards for the card shows. The badges, like I said, I'm going to have some prototypes made up. I'm going to be wearing a badge at this next card show, and I will start taking requests for badges at this next card show. We're going to just do a small amount at a time, and we're just going to continue to build from there. Yeah, not gonna go overwhelming buku overdrive right out the gate. We're just gonna take it a little bit at a time. As far as break night goes, I had a conversation with a few people. So Wednesday night breaks are going to be just a handful of breaks, probably going to be starting around 4 o'clock on Wednesday evenings, 4 o'clock Pacific time, which is about 7 o'clock Eastern time, and that way we're not alienating East Coast people from being able to participate and be on the live stream for breaks, because the time difference here between Washington and the East Coast can be a little overwhelming at times. So we will be running probably 5 to 7 breaks per week. They're going to be smaller breaks. I'm not doing full cases of anything unless I happen to get something like, Archive Signature Series, stuff like that. That's like a one or two card per box. I may do full cases of that, but for the most part, it's going to be 1, 2, 3 box breaks type of thing. We'll be running 5 to 7 per week. All the info is going to be on the website, but I'll just kind of give you a rundown. Shipping days are going to be Fridays and Mondays for break night. And then that's also going to include, in case we end up doing a bonus break night or something like that, there is not going to be a traditional loyalty program, rewards program, so to speak. Not like I did before where I gave discounts on breaks. What I'm going to do with this is actually going to be a loyalty. There's going to be loyalty breaks at the end of every month, which I think I'm going to do the loyalty breaks the first week of the following month. That way everybody has a chance to get in all several weeks of breaks for the month. The loyalty breaks are going to be 2 to 3 breaks, different breaks, that if you participated in 3 or more different breaks throughout the month, you'll gain access to the pages for the loyalty breaks. And these loyalty breaks, to put it quite simply, are going to be cost friendly, we'll call it. As an example, one of the upcoming loyalty breaks I'm going to do is going to be National Treasures football. And the cost of the box, if you go buy it retail, is $4,500 to $5,000. I'm going to run one of the loyalty breaks with National Treasures football that's going to be about $1,000 total cost of the break. So I just haven't decided if I'm going to do a serial number break or if I'm going to do a random team break or how I'm going to do it yet. That's still kind of one thing that's up in the air on the loyalty break. But that should give you an idea of the price level that the loyalty breaks are going to be at the end of every month. And I'm going to base the loyalty break amount that the customers can get in on based on how many people qualify for loyalty breaks. And what we will do is, on my website, in the breaks page, it'll be just like any other break, except the loyalty break page, or I should say the loyalty specific break, will be password protected for the people who qualify, that they will get an email with a password to get onto that page. So the only people that will see the price, the only people that will see the break, as far as the breakdown of it, are the people who qualified for the loyalty break. So that's just kind of one of those things that I want to I want to pay everybody back for supporting and being involved in the growth of Sports Stuff Hub, by doing some fun things like that are at a huge cost savings, because I'm not going to sit here and try to sell a $5,000 box of National Treasures in a break. Not really into that kind of stuff. So I'm going to use things like National Treasures for things like the loyalty break, where it'll be, even if we do a random team, what is $1,000 divided by 32 teams? So it'd be like $31 a spot if we did a random team. Or obviously if we did a sequential or a serial number break, 10 spots, each person gets a number, 0 through 9, and that's your number. It'd be $100 a spot. Still, I don't think there's anybody out there doing a National Treasures box for $1,000 total. Could be wrong, but so anyway, so that's going to be the loyalty program that's in play for the breaks. So every month is going to end with a couple of loyalty breaks. Okay, so before we get into main topics tonight, we're going to talk a little bit more sports cards. And we have some release schedules for you. Starting off with Topps, and we have Topps Definitive Baseball that comes out on March 31st, which would be tomorrow, and which is also the day before opening day for baseball. A week later, we have Topps Tribute Baseball on the 7th. And then we have Bowman Baseball coming out mid-April. It looks like on April 16th. You can see there the rest of the stuff. I'm only going to really cover the next 2 weeks worth of product, so you can take a look at the rest of the schedule there. On the Panini side of things, this one's a little bit more of a cluster, but you can see there we have Select Baseball coming out middle of April on April 14th. We also have Prism Basketball, which releases tomorrow, and if anybody caught it on the website, on the Panini website, Panini put their Prism hobby boxes at $1,999.95. After First Off the Line bottomed out at $2,000 a box, Panini decided to really not favor the customers at all and keep it at $2,000 a box, which is exactly what First Off the Line sold out at. So I wasn't really thrilled to see that happen. I was kind of hoping that they would drop it to 1,800-ish, 1,700-ish maybe, but they decided against that. And what do I know? I'm just a consumer. Then it looks like we've got Origins Basketball coming out mid-April. That comes out April 14th, same day as Select Baseball. Over on the football side, we just got done with Encased Football that released on Friday of this last week. We do have Select Football coming out on Friday, April 9th, which is our first set of breaks that we're doing on break night. Select is really what I based break night coming back for. And so we have Select Football on the 9th. It shows currently Contenders Optic Football releasing the same day. My guess is that will get pushed because they don't like releasing the same sport on the same day. So my guess is Contenders Optic will get pushed to either Wednesday the 14th or Friday the 16th. And if Contenders Optic does get pushed to Wednesday, expect National Treasures Football to get pushed to Friday. But either way, we have both Contenders Optic Football and National Treasures Football coming out roughly the week of the 14th. And then shortly after that, we do have Flawless Football coming out as well, another high-end product. We don't have any collegiate coming out until the end of April, and then we have Obsidian Soccer coming out on Friday, April 16th, which is the only soccer product that looks like we've got coming out until, looks like Impeccable on April 28th. So a little bit of soccer coming, but not a ton. One of the next things I want to discuss is an announcement that just hit social media a few hours ago. If anybody missed this, this one's interesting. PSA put out an announcement that they were suspending grading services for value, economy, regular, and express services. And according to their tweet, accounts for 97.9% of all submitted cards to PSA. They are suspending these grading services until at least July 1st in an attempt to catch up. If this actually helps remains to be seen, but hopefully it does, because they have a multi-million card backlog right now. So if you had any grading plans, they just got shot down, at least for the next few months. But they'll be back. I'm not too worried about it. PSA's been around long enough. They'll open things back up. They'll catch back up. They'll shoot themselves in the foot again, and they'll end up behind again at some point. Unless they actually do things right and expand. And I've had a conversation about this with multiple people over the last several months. Most recently today, Tony and I were talking about it on Twitter. They really need to expand into a low-cost state where all they're doing is mail-ins and they're not doing anything other than the bulk submissions. That would really help. But again, what do I know? I'm just a consumer. Okay, so we got about 10 minutes before Dean joins us. I've got one other thing I'm running through that I wanted to share. If anybody was on my website, sportsstuffhub.com, you'll already have seen this, but I wanted to get into my top 10 wide receivers for the 2021 season. Now, this is not a list based on upcoming draft picks or any potential trades that could happen between now and then. Obviously, quarterbacks changing can really play an effect in this. But this is pre-draft, and this is not where I rank them based on their performance from last year. This is what I expect from them in 2021. Just to make sure we're clear. My number one that I have expected for 2021, DeAndre Hopkins, wide receiver out of Arizona. I 100% believe that the first year that DeAndre Hopkins had with the Arizona Cardinals was just the icing on the cake. I'm fully expecting a 130-plus reception, 1,700-yard season with 14 touchdowns out of DeAndre Hopkins this next season. They just picked up A.J. Green, for God's sake. A.J. Green, now yes, he's no Larry Fitzgerald, but A.J. Green still is a very good receiver that can take quite a bit of recognition away from DeAndre Hopkins from the defense, so it's going to open him up more. So I fully expect DeAndre Hopkins to have a big year. Also keep in mind, before I get too deep into this, the NFL voted today, the owners voted today, they passed the vote for adding a 17th regular season game into the schedule. So keep that in mind with these numbers. I know some of you guys are going to look at some of these numbers and go, that's, there's no way he's going to pull that off in a season. Remember, 17th game, so one extra game. Some of these stats aren't very far off from what they did in 16 games. So 17 weeks, 17 games, I should say, 18 weeks. DeAndre Hopkins I have as my number one. Number two, I'm pulling with Stephon Diggs out of Buffalo. Again, same type of situation. First year in Buffalo last year, and he went off big time. He was absolutely stellar last season. I'm expecting it to get even bigger this year as he continues to build chemistry with Josh Allen. My prediction for Diggs is a 139 reception season, totaling 1,745 yards with 10 touchdowns. Book it. I'm calling it right now. My number three receiver for next season, Devontae Adams, Green Bay Packers. Last year he was, third or fourth in the NFL, and he missed 2 games last year. Okay? He was still a monster last year. He put up 14 or 16 touchdowns last year despite missing 2 games. And he still put up 1,400 yards, and he still put up 118 receptions or whatever it was. I expect Devontae Adams to have an absolute monster season next year. 138 receptions, 1,695 yards, 16 touchdowns. Again, book it. He's going to go off. Now, if you guys want to take this and use this as your fantasy draft strategy, go for it. I am confident in these numbers. I will not waver from this. These are the guys that I expect to lead the NFL. Number 4, the monster DK Metcalf Seattle Seahawks. Going into his 3rd season, DK's already destroying his competition. His combo of size, speed, and strength is completely unmatched, and there's not a DB in the NFL that stands a chance against that. His main downfall is going to be if Russell Wilson gets time to throw, or if Russell Wilson can actually get him the ball. When that is happening, when the cohesion is there, when the offense is clicking, when Russell Wilson cooks, this is the most potent duo in the NFL, bar none. Prediction: 105 receptions, 1,570 yards, 13 touchdowns. Number 5 on my list, Justin Jefferson, Minnesota Vikings. Rookie last year, had no training camp at all, had no time to adjust to the NFL, and still put up monstrous numbers. Justin Jefferson this year expected 102 receptions, 1,565 yards, 9 touchdowns. Number 6, Tyreek Hill. Often overlooked as being one of the top receivers in the NFL. Breakaway speed that's unmatched and can lose defenders easily with his routes. Mahomes has a knack for getting him the deep ball, but also can hit him underneath on routes, and he can just torch defensive backs. Prediction this year: 96 receptions, 1,490 yards, 14 touchdowns. Number 7, Chase Claypool, Pittsburgh Steelers, Mapletron. Now, last year, he had flashes of greatness. And a lot of fans, after some breakout games that he had, were clamoring for more Claypool in the offense. And last year, we all saw the Steelers' offense sputtered greatly. New offensive coordinator this year, Ben's back, Juju's back, Claypool's in his 2nd year, developing, maturing. I've got him factored to come into the wide receiver 1 role for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 99 receptions, 1,410 yards, 16 total touchdowns, because they do use him as a running back at times. Number 8 on my list, Calvin Ridley, Atlanta Falcons. Ridley sat in the top 5 in most statistical categories for wide receivers last year in multiple periods throughout the season. Now, I get it. That was streaks. He had a streak early in the season, and he had a streak late in the season. He had about a 6-game gap where Matt Ryan just absolutely shat the bed. You put Calvin Ridley in consistency. Julio gets a diminished role because, let's face it, Julio struggles staying healthy. If they diminish his role a little bit, keep him healthy, Calvin Ridley goes monster. 101 receptions, 1,405 yards, 10 touchdowns. Number 9, Keenan Allen. Another guy that struggles to stay on the field, but when he's on the field and healthy, he is a top 5 wide receiver any given week. Missing the time is what's knocked down his season stats for the last couple years, but with a young, slinging, and accurate quarterback, Allen's going to see a lot of targets. I expect 111 receptions, 1,380 yards, 10 touchdowns. And my number 10 rounding out this list, CeeDee Lamb, Dallas Cowboys. Now, I know what you're thinking. He's not even the number 1. Amari Cooper is. But CeeDee Lamb is going to be the biggest beneficiary to Dak Prescott coming back this year. Lamb's rookie season was marred by injured quarterbacks. He did not get consistency at all. As a rookie, that's catastrophic. When you can't develop any consistency with your quarterback and you're a rookie wide receiver, you have no shot. Well, Dak's back this year. Dak and Lamb are going to end up hooking up a lot. He's going to be the biggest beneficiary of Dak getting back healthy and paid. I'm expecting 97 receptions, 1,350 yards, 8 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, number 10. And my next group, let's call them the honorable mention guys. These are guys that are going to fall right in that 11 to 20 range. T.Y. Hilton, Indianapolis Colts. Chris Godwin, Tampa Bay Bucks. Allen Robinson, Chicago Bears, who's going to have Andy, the Red Rifle Dalton, slinging him the ball this year, unless they end up trading for somebody else. Tyler Lockett from Seattle. Juju Smith-Schuster is going to make an appearance in the top 20. Cooper Kupp from the Rams. Amari Cooper from Dallas. And Terry McLaurin from Washington, because Ryan Fitzmagic, God dang, is slinging him the ball this year. Terry McLaurin is going to have, well, I mean, it's only his 3rd season, but he's going to have a career year with Ryan Fitzmagic. That is my top 10 wide receivers for 2021. Expect big numbers. 17 weeks this season. 17 weeks. Throw the record books out the window. All right. Now, this man needs no introduction. You've all seen him on here before. You've seen him talking shit on Twitter, shooting his mouth off, you know, talking Mariners, talking Seahawks, doing a lot of this all over the place. Ladies and gentlemen, Dean Smith-Richard.
Make fun of the Steelers one goddamn time.
Oh, hang on. Oh, man. All that great, fantastic
so great
introduction.
I'm looking right at it.
Oh, man. Hang on. I can fix this. This happens. The fantastic thing about it is how easy this is to fix. It'd be so much easier if I had somebody here to run the board for me.
The fantastic thing about it is how much shit you were giving me last night about my microphone not working.
I know. There you go. Look at that.
What's
Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful Dean Smith-Richard.
How's it going? I like that wide receiver list, by the way.
Really you like solid. That?
Yeah,
I
really.
Figured, especially with DK making the top 5, I figured a lot of Seattle fans would enjoy that.
Yeah, he's gotten more and more consistent. Obviously, you know, the drops have been an issue here and there, but that's a guy who comes with just a tremendous work ethic and a desire to get better and a desire to be great, not just coasting on the fact that he's bigger and stronger than everybody. And so in just 2 years, he's already dramatically improved as a route runner, improved his hands, and really comes to work. So as that gets better, I think he's going to be a better and better asset here in Seattle.
Well, and with the type of receiver he is, drops are going to be on his statistical category because he's a go up and get it type of guy. He's going to position his body in just these all obscure ways, and balls get knocked out of stuff like that, and it happens. And the way a drop is factored, if it's in his catch radius, it's a drop.
Yeah, and his catch radius is about 12 yards, so that doesn't help.
And that's being lenient. It's probably more around 20.
Yeah, the dude is humongous. He's a monster.
Yeah, he's absolute beast. So, enough talking about your Seahawks. As I'm sitting here wearing my Mariners jersey,
we can talk Mariners all night, man. I'm good with that. Opening day.
We don't have time to talk Mariners, man. There's so much football stuff that went on recently that we got to dive into this. This is ridiculous.
It's my favorite season, though. You know what my absolute favorite season is? Is whitewashing the latest Alabama quarterback who's not going to do anything in the NFL and turning him into a first-round prospect. like
You
he's
know,
not
and
Greg
I
McElroy or something.
I posted about this before, and there's a lot of analysts that I love interacting with. You know, Dan Orlovsky is one of my favorite guys to actually sit there and watch because of how good he is. He may not have been this stellar NFL quarterback, but the way he can break things down is fantastic, and I love watching his stuff. But today, Torrey Smith, after Justin Fields' pro day, was like, this is why Justin Fields is ranked above Mac Jones. And I
Yeah,
was just like, and I responded to him and I was like, I never quite understood how Mac Jones went from being like last fall being a third, fourth, fifth round quarterback to all of a sudden being top three.
yeah. Well, and you know, we go through it every year. You and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. That every year there's, yeah, you know, the guys who are surefire things, who are the Trevor Lawrences of the world, who you know, Andrew Luck, all these guys who, yeah, they're consistent. Their football IQ is there, the arm strength is there, the decision making is there, and you get it with those guys. There's always two or three of those guys every single draft, and some are better than others. Some years are stronger, but then every year it's about this time. Oh, five guys are going in the first round. Five QBs are going in the first round. And some of these guys are guys you haven't heard of before, guys who you watched their games. You went, yeah, you're throwing to three great wide receivers with great running back, a great offensive line, and an NFL caliber defense. That's not a first round talent. That's a guy thriving because of a system. And
Right.
it's not to say that, you know, you can't plug in a great guy in there, but that's just never been an Alabama quarterback. And every 3 or 4 years, somebody sees the numbers and sees the system and brings that guy in, and they never ever pan out.
And I don't want to say that any particular school can't produce an NFL quality quarterback because it's entirely possible. But the fact that Mac Jones went from being a third, fourth round discussion guy and then national championship. I mean, even leading up to the national championship game, there was no talk of him being a first rounder. And then he throws for 400 plus yards and 4 touchdowns against Ohio State, and everybody goes, "Oh my goodness, this guy's going to be the second or third quarterback picked in the draft. He's going to go top 5." And I'm sitting here going, "What? What one game?
Yeah.
One stinking game?"
One game with the caliber of talent he has around him. Look at, and we're going to circle back to a lot of this in a minute with the trade that just happened, but look at probably the best quarterback prospect to come out of there in the last decade plus is Tua down to Miami, and the talk is already, is Miami going to stick with him? Is he the guy? And this is who you're going to burn a first round pick on. And not that they're not worthy of a pick, not that they can't be a system quarterback, but these guys are not franchise saviors coming out of Alabama, and it happens with every single one of them. That oh my God, this guy has true, you know, four touchdowns, 400 yards, 500 yards a game, you know. But then when you hear two of his offensive linemen and two of his wide receivers and half the defense getting their name called day one of the draft too, there's a
Heisman
reason.
Trophy winner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, and you're not the first person to say that Tua isn't the savior of the Miami Dolphins franchise. Now, what I believe should have happened is they should have allowed Fitzy to play the whole season, allow Tua to grow into that role and start him this season. Because imagine the outlook that the Dolphins would have going into Tua's second season with him never playing an NFL snap and being content with that and going, no, we know he's our guy going forward. Fitz goes on to Washington. They sign Jacoby Brissett as a solid backup because there's nothing wrong with Brissett. And all of a sudden, the Dolphins are in a complete different mindset going into the season, going, no, there's no doubt we have our guy. But instead, they pushed him into a bad situation where the transition of, we'll call it power, of starting quarterback was not done properly.
No.
And now it's a matter of Man, well, we could maybe trade Tua to Houston and get Deshaun Watson. We could trade him maybe to Seattle and get Russell Wilson. We could trade him XYZ. Maybe we stay in the draft and take a quarterback at number 3. There's lots of options. And you're sitting there going, you guys just drafted him in the top 5 last year,
Yeah.
and you're already ready to give up on him?
And it's not even Tua's fault. I mean, I think he's probably the most capable Bama quarterback we've seen in at least a minute. And you put him the way the Fitzgerald transition was handled, notwithstanding, he's in a better spot with the amount of talent they have on that roster already, the amount of draft capital they have to shore up the roster around him. You don't need him to come in and be what the Jaguars are going to need Trevor Lawrence to be right now, where, hey, buddy, here's the entire offense on your shoulder from day one. So he has been eased into it a little bit. He definitely has the keys to this offense unless something absolutely crazy happens at number 6 in the draft. But he has the keys to the offense, and you would imagine, or you would hope for his sake, that they're going to go out and really put some more weapons around him and give him the tools he needs to succeed. And he can go be that guy where, he's not going to be Patrick Mahomes and entirely take over a game, but he can be that game manager, make flash plays and showcase his arm a little bit.
Yeah, and let him grow into it. If you have a young quarterback manager for a couple seasons, you have a leader by season 4.
Right.
And that's the thing, though. Last season, they didn't have a run game. Their offensive line was me. And their best receiver, their only decent receiver, was Devontae Parker, who was injured half the season.
Yeah.
And then Preston Williams has been a flash. But didn't they just go out and get Will Fuller?
Yeah.
And so right there, that makes Tua better. And then they just signed a running back, too. Man, struggling on that one. But they bring in a solid running back.
Don't sleep on Myles Gaskin either, man. He was looking solid by the end of last year, and I think he's a dangerous runner.
Absolutely. So lots of stuff I'm hoping that they build around Tua. So I mean, we're right now just in a waiting game.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get over to the blockbuster trades that took place. Starting off with the Dolphins trading out of number 3 to the 49ers, and what this means in terms of the 49ers, because they have Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster, and Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch both came out and said, Jimmy's our guy still. We're not moving on from him. We want a young guy to learn behind him. What does that do with Jimmy by putting a number 3 overall pick behind him?
You can't do it. You just can't do it. You can do it if it's it's just putting together kind of my draft needs and where every team sits after this kind of first wave and a half of free agency. And you expect the Buccaneers to go after a quarterback, if not this draft next year. They need somebody to be in that situation because Brady's can't play forever. And Brady's been in that situation for a decade, right? He's been old guard in the NFL for a while now. And so he's not insulted or threatened by a quarterback coming in behind him because he's seen Castle and Garoppolo go off to other places. Garoppolo is not that. Garoppolo's not that old. And he's looking at it going, hey, I've played less than 50% of the games I could play over the last 3-4 years, whatever it is he's been in San Francisco. He's played less than half the games. He's injured, and he hasn't been super effective when he's in. And he's not dumb enough to know that that's not the case. This isn't, okay, hey, man, you've been our quarterback for a decade, and we need to have a succession plan in place. This isn't Joe Montana and Steve Young. This is, hey, you haven't been effective, and we're just going to hedge our bets because we don't know who we're going to get at number 3. And for the 49ers front office, that is catastrophically stupid to roll the dice, to put that amount of draft capital into rolling the dice on what is probably going to be the 3rd best quarterback in that draft, because we know Trevor Lawrence is gone.
Zach Wilson Sounds like Zach Wilson's going 2 overall.
Zach Wilson goes 2 overall. So you're picking up scraps, and yeah, the argument can definitely be made that this is a strong quarterback class, and Justin Fields is no slouch, who I'd expect to be the pick there. But are you getting a better value than you would later in the draft? Are you even second, third round? Are you going to get a better value at number 3 and have given up massive draft capital, doing the exact opposite of what we just said Miami's doing, where they at least have draft capital to put around a good plus quarterback, right? You don't have to have a great quarterback. You don't have to hit a home run with Tua or whoever they end up with. You just have to put good talent around them, and you have the draft capital to do that. Now, San Francisco is going to put themselves in the position where you have 2 quarterbacks. And the old saying is absolutely true. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. So you're going to put yourself in a situation where you have no clear-cut starter franchise quarterback and no ability to put talent around him. Oh, and by the way, that cupboard was pretty bare as it was with the roster as it was currently constructed. So you took a team that was lacking in talent and appreciatively made it worse before you even make that draft pick, because you can't put both of those guys on the field at the same time. If you had 2 great wide receivers, at least they can both be on the field at the same time. If you have 2 great running backs, at least they can both be on the field at the same time. All you're doing is just handicapping yourself, and I don't get the play, especially for the 3rd best quarterback in the draft. If it was, okay, there's a clear-cut number 2 and there's a tackle or a wide receiver or somebody who's going to go number 2 overall, and you're getting a clear-cut number 2 option, a la Andrew Luck, Robert Griffin, something along those lines where, okay, there's 2 franchise quarterbacks and flip a coin at the top of this draft. You're not getting either one of those guys. You're getting the 3rd best guy at best. And you better hope the 2 teams ahead of you screw it up. And while you can bank on the Jets to do that, Trevor Lawrence's can't miss, and you're just picking up scraps at that point. So I don't get the mentality at all.
My frustration with it has been, and you said it before, Jimmy Garoppolo is not a bad quarterback. And there's been a lot of people that have come out and said, you know, he's horrible. And I'm like, well, you know, the only season that he played more than 6 games, he was the quarterback of the Super Bowl team, the NFC champion team. So it's like, and everybody, well, it was the defense. You know, okay, sure. He didn't eclipse 4,000 yards. He was just shy of 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, was sacked 36 times, which doesn't help matters. But look at his wide receiver cast that he had there. He had a slug of running backs. They were averaging, 300 yards a game. They were the leading rushing team that season. But he didn't have the rookie from this past year that was a stud. We had Kittle was oft injured that year. He had Kendrick Bourne, he had Deebo Samuel, who were bouncing in and out of the lineup. Emmanuel Sanders only played half the season. So, and Emmanuel Sanders is a shell of what he used to be. I mean, He couldn't even put up solid numbers with Drew Brees slinging him the rock. So, everybody's dogging on Garoppolo. To me, that tells me you're not actually watching the games.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of his. I don't think he's going to be effective even if he can stay healthy. Obviously, the supporting cast plays a lot into that. I don't think he's ever going to be the guy, right, who takes over the game, who can do it without a great supporting cast, a great cadre of wide receivers and good running backs and a good defense. And the old saying, right, to just spit out cliches here all night long, availability is the best ability. And when you're playing fewer than 50% of your games, then your team gets in a point where they got to go, okay, we have to have a solid guy behind you to come in and play 6 to 10 games a year. And now you're going to ask these guys to go out, and I'm with Kamara on this. It's absolutely stupid. As much as I love watching football, that 17 games without adding in another bye week is going to be brutal on players. So now you're asking him to play more games plus potentially playoffs. And, we beat the NFC West pass rush drum for a while, but there's a reason. It's an absolute murderer's row out there for quarterbacks. So now you're asking him to stay healthy over 17 games, again, without being able to put talent around him, and with somebody breathing down his neck who's potentially better than he is. That's a recipe for disaster.
100% agree. And like I said, I'm no Jimmy Garoppolo apologist. I'm no Jimmy Garoppolo fan, but I 100% agree. He's at least a serviceable game manager when he's healthy.
Yeah,
and the run game is really what they were dependent on offense-wise anyways. I mean, he only threw 8 passes in the NFC Championship game because
right.
They didn't have to throw more than 8 passes. They were up 28-0 at halftime or 27-0 at halftime because they ran 3 touchdowns in.
Yeah, and you look at with a team, though, and it's gotten poached in free agency.
Really has.
And so, and to make, just add insult to injury, they got poached within the division. Witherspoon's up in Seattle, and who the Rams signed. So they're talent-wise, they've gone downhill, and they haven't really brought in anybody to replace those guys. And now you're trading away draft picks to shore up a position that, yeah, you can go both ways. I'm obviously on the Garoppolo's not a great quarterback, but they haven't done anything to actually improve that as long as he's on the roster. You didn't recoup anything from him. They already took a cap hit from his contract. So what are you going to do with him now? You put yourself in a worse cap situation. Yeah, maybe you could trade him for a second or a third round pick. That doesn't come close to matching what they just gave up.
No. Well, and let's add in the fact that they just lost both their offensive and defensive coordinators.
Yeah.
So that team is in complete start over mode right now.
I think what it comes down to, what's going to happen, and maybe it all works out for them, but they're not going to have to trade for the top 3 pick next year. I think they're going to get there all on their own. And yeah, maybe they get lucky and they have a quarterback on the roster, but who owns that pick now? Philadelphia or Miami, right? So
well, great segue, Dean, because
I got you.
Here we go. Here's the trades. So this is what happened. The 49ers get the number 3 overall pick in 2021 from Miami, obviously, via Houston because of Houston's trade. By the way, that was Houston getting Laramie Tunsil. The Dolphins from that trade got the number 12 overall pick, so they traded down from 3 to 12 from San Francisco. They also then got a first and a third round pick in 22. And on top of that, they get a first round pick in 23. So they got 3 first rounders and a third rounder by giving up the number 3 overall. So 49ers really did mortgage their future in terms of top talent at the draft.
Yeah. And so again, just go like tying those together. It's the 49ers project, at least to me, to be one of the worst teams in the league next year. They smell like a 4-win team at best, right? They're going to get whooped up on by 3 great teams in the division. The out of division schedule is not easy for the NFC West this year. So they've got a tough schedule with massive holes on their roster, and now they've given up a ton of it. And even if they do that, they put up 2, 3, 4 wins and end up with a top 5 pick. Miami's going to do the exact same thing next year for a team that's stupid enough to do it. And they're just going to keep adding picks. And they're going to have 2 first-round picks for the next 3 or 4 years. And that's going to be a Super Bowl team. And the teams that keep making these trades are just going to keep cratering.
My prediction, by the 2030 season, Miami owns half the first round.
It's surely that way. It's surely that way.
It's ridiculous.
Because look at the guys they've traded. Like, would you, and I think Laramie Tunsil's a perfectly effective tackle, but my goodness, is he worth a top half of the first round pick right now? Absolutely.
It depends on who you got around him. I mean, if left tackle is all you need, yes. If that's it, right. Yes. If that's your key missing piece, he's worth 2 first rounders. He's worth 3 first rounders. Right. But if you're the Houston Texans and your team is such a far cry from division winner, even.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with San Francisco. What is this? Is this one pick going to solve your future? And it's not even. I don't think it's absolutely the best strategy, but it's definitely the opposite strategy. If you look at what the Rams have done over the last few years, where they're selling off first round picks for proven and effective veterans that do cement at least a portion of their team. Jalen Ramsey and these guys, and you bring those guys in, and it's kept them in the playoffs. It's kept them in Super Bowl contention. Whereas, San Francisco, on the back of average quarterback play and a good running game and a good defense, got in. But then after that, them and the Eagles are essentially in the same boat, as it was flash in the pan, and then they're cratering because the roster's not really talented enough to sustain it. And then you're not putting enough talent, you're not restocking that cupboard over and over again through the draft. And again, I think it's where Miami's just doing such a great job right now, a la Seattle in 2010 and 2011, where you just have a gajillion draft picks. And so you don't have to hit a home run on every single draft pick. You're not sitting there at number 3 going, okay, we nail this pick or bust for our team. It's, hey, we got number 3, and if that doesn't work out, we got number 12, and we've got all these other picks that we can bust out.
Well, and we'll get into this here in a minute, but Miami actually has 11 picks this year. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
So going back to that graphic I just put up, we're going to touch on the next trade that took place. The Dolphins trading back up to the number 6 pick, trading with the Eagles. And this trade involved the Dolphins getting the number 6 pick, the number 156 pick overall, which was like a 4th rounder. And then the Eagles get the number 12 pick, which originally was San Fran's pick, and the number 123, which is a 3rd rounder, I believe, 4th rounder. And they get a 1st round pick from Miami next season. So the Eagles get I believe, another Houston pick, or maybe it was 49ers pick.
I thought I'll have to double check, but I thought they got Miami's pick.
That could be. I have it on the next screen anyways, so we'll soon find out. Here, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Right there. Eagles get, Miami's.
Yeah. So you have to figure, great trading from Miami, because you look at where that San Francisco pick is expected to be, right? You expect that to be top 10. Let's just say top 10. But the 49ers, excuse me, you expect to be picking top 10, but the Dolphins, you expect them to be a playoff team, if not make a pretty deep playoff run. So you're trading a late 1st round pick, and you're still going to have a high draft pick that you can really, really easily trade down with, and turn that into even more picks, because those are the picks that people are going to come after, as we're seeing right now. So they've not only given themselves a lot of ammunition, they've just given the ability to reload without really having to sacrifice anything.
Absolutely. Now here's some rumors that was going on during all this trade talk, during all the results happening. Number 1, with San Francisco trading up to number 3, there was word spreading that they were trying to get the number 2, and the Jets would not give it up because the Jets are sold on their guy. It sounds like that would be Zach Wilson. But then later on, Jets officials came out and said, we never fielded any calls for the number 2 pick. Do you believe it?
It's the only thing that makes sense to me. Like I said, getting to number 3 is borderline useless in my opinion, unless you just absolutely believe in who's going to be there. But it's all draft smokescreen season, right? So, the word could be that it's Zach Wilson. It could be Fields. So you can't even trust what anybody's saying publicly right now. So getting to number 2 is the only thing that makes any kind of sense to me. And can you bump up from number 3 to do it? Is there a way you could coerce the Jets to bump down a pick and settle for that third guy, I don't know. It would probably behoove the Jets to do that if they believe in Sam Darnold at all, with the amount of draft capital they had, is really try to put a strong team on the field. But I don't have faith in that front office to make the right decision in any way, shape, or form, right? To whether that's trade down and get a tackle, get a wide receiver, shore up their offense, and still have that number 22 overall pick. But man, to me, it's the only thing that makes sense for San Francisco is getting to number 2 to get the guy that you believe in. Because right now, even if you say, okay, Trevor Lawrence is off the board, there's no way to get him. But I believe in Justin Fields, or I believe in Wilson, or I believe in Mac Jones. Like, pick a guy. If you believe in that guy, the only way you can be guaranteed of getting him is being at number 2.
Or doing a draft day trade with whoever's on the board.
Right, but the only way you can get there is and have control is what I'm saying.
Right.
Is that's what you want, is you want to have control. You don't want to you push all your chips to the center of the table on the flop, like it's, you have to have some kind of control, because if you're like, oh yeah, it's a smoke screen from the Jets, they're not going to take Wilson and he's our guy and he's going to fall to us. And then all of a sudden you're sitting there with the guy you didn't want in the first place and you just gave up all that to get it, somehow makes this even worse. So giving up that control to me is absolutely mind-boggling. And if you have 2 quarterbacks in the draft ranked that equally, where you're content with either of them falling to a number 3, you better really believe that this is a generational draft, or a draft unlike we've never seen before. To have 3 quarterbacks off the first board in the first 3 picks, we're going to be that good.
Well, I mean, let's face it, if we do have 3 and a potentially 4th go 1, 2, 3, 4, wouldn't that be the first time in NFL history?
It would. And you would have to think, right? Just that, not in the pit of your stomach. It'd be like a teacher giving like all C's as the answer on a test. By about the 5th or 6th C, you're like, something's wrong here. I can smell it. Right? And that's the way this would feel to me, is like, there is no way, absolutely no way, that even 3 quarterbacks are that equally grouped. Even if you want to say, put Trevor Lawrence in Canton right now, there's no way the next 2 guys are equally good enough to be worthy of those picks. Look at you, and I mean, the draft is such a crapshoot anyway, in so many ways, right? It's realistically a 50% chance of hitting across the board in the first round. So are you willing to have 2 coin flips before you and then flip the coin on the third guy? I'm not.
At a number 3 pick, I wouldn't want to flip a coin.
No, and that's it. You put yourself in a position where you're not absolutely dead sure the way you are if you have the first overall pick, right? The second that the Jets won and the Jags lost, you're done. You know what that pick's going to be, no question, because it is as close to a surefire thing as they come. But Justin Fields is not talked about that way. Zach Wilson's not talked about that way. Mac Wilson is not talked about that way. And again, you pull back, and yeah, these are guys who are on the radar last college football season. And granted, it's been crazy enough with COVID and everything, but while they've been strong collegiate quarterbacks, you don't look at them the way you look at a Trevor Lawrence and a lot of these guys who come out and you're like, yeah, that's an NFL superstar quarterback. And so to absolutely mortgage your future, to not even be sure of who you're getting and what you're getting, just absolutely mind-boggling.
Imagine that the Jets did field calls from San Francisco, but because they just hired Saleh and LaFleur from the Niners, decided to be petty and tell them we're drafting Zach Wilson, and the 49ers then trade for the number 3 with the intention of Fields, and then the Jets go and trade the pick away in another week.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's exactly what I'm saying. You've taken all control away from yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Because it could be even just as simple as a bait and switch. Hey, no, we're taking Zach Wilson. We're sold on him. You're stuck at number 3 with Justin Fields. And San Francisco goes, okay, we're okay with that. And then New York takes Fields, or they trade it to somebody else. You know, what if Houston comes calling with Deshaun Watson, and I guess they don't have any first round picks, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody else comes calling for that pick, yeah, maybe they trade it. Maybe somebody blows them away with an offer. So that's the situation you put yourself in by trading now, especially not on draft day, not when the pick is about to happen and your guy's sitting there and you go, oh man, we got the draft capital to go get this guy that we did not think was going to be there. Instead, you're stuck at number 3. You can't do a damn thing about it because nobody's going to even pay you close to what you just paid for it. And if they are, they're going to call New York and get to number 2. So now you're stuck with that pick, stuck having given that up, and you have no control over whose name's available.
Still not sold on the Jets going after Zach Wilson. The whole thing to me is just bizarre with Sam Darnold. I cannot be the only smart person looking at this. Where if you draft Sam Darnold's replacement, because if you take a quarterback number 2 overall, he's the guy. Or he's going to be the guy. Yeah.
It's the same thing as the Garoppolo conversation we just had.
Right. And if Sam, even if, hear this out. Zach Wilson goes 2 overall to the Jets, but they start Darnold to start the season. And just humor me. Darnold goes nuclear for the first 4 weeks, averaging 3+ touchdowns a game, maybe 1 turnover the entire time, 300+ yards a game, and he just goes nuclear. How do you pull him and put Zach Wilson in? What happens if that continues and Darnold balls out at an MVP level? Now, is he possible of it? Sure. Is he going to? But if this were to happen and Darnold just shows all season, then you've wasted the number 2 overall pick that could have been a weapon for him, and that pick actually may have cost you a playoff win. What do you do at that point if Darnold balls and Zach Wilson is sitting there heir apparent?
Exactly. It's the same boat that San Francisco's in.
Yeah.
How are you doing that with a quarterback on your roster who's not retirement age, who's not over the hill, who's not potentially going to be over the hill? How do you do that? Yeah. You can't manage that. It's a completely untenable situation because put yourself in the player's shoes at that point. If Garoppolo or Darnold it just absolutely goes off with this guy sitting behind them, I don't know how family friendly we want to be here, but I know the conversation I'm having with management, if that's the case, like, hey, you idiots put this guy behind me. You didn't have any faith in me, but you kept me on the roster. And now I'm going, like, trade me, get me out of here, or pay me and get him out of here. It's a completely, we think Russell Wilson stuff has been trauma. Could you imagine? I would go nuclear.
Well, it's the same type of thing of what the Eagles did with Carson Wentz. I mean, and we can all admit that the Eagles completely screwed Carson Wentz.
Is that the franchise you want to model yourself after? Look at where they're at.
Yeah. Now, hopefully, and speaking of, so with the whole rigmarole that just happened with all the trades, there was talks that the Eagles were going to stay at 6, and they apparently had made calls to trade up to draft Zach Wilson. When I heard those rumors, I was like, you've got to be flipping kidding me. The owner just came out 2 weeks ago and said, I have instructed the GM and the coaching staff to build around Jalen Hurts. And then you hear that they're making calls as to what it's going to take for them to trade up and get Zach Wilson. I mean, are we talking about just an absolute clusterfuck in Philadelphia, or what's the deal?
Yeah, no, it's a clusterfuck. That's that. Thank God for San Francisco and Houston and New York stealing the headlines for just overall incompetency away from them, because it's an absolute train wreck over there. Because forget building around the quarterback, which you can go whatever way you want to go on Jalen Hurts. There's an argument to be made for, okay, he's a second round QB on a cheap deal, so you do have the money to build around him. They have 11 picks, I believe, in this draft as well. So you've got the picks to do it. But name a good draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles recently?
Well, as we just discussed the other day, the only Pro Bowler they've had in the last 5 years is now the quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts, because they completely screwed over his development and completely screwed over his potential of staying with of staying with Philly.
Yeah, look at every single draft pick they've had, and it's just bust, nobody. Like, you cannot. Their draft strategy is so atrocious. They haven't even brought in even competent NFL replacement level players.
I'm going to stop you there for a second. I wouldn't say that they're busts. They're number one, first and foremost, their reaches when there's clear better talent on the board. But number two, they're people that they don't know how to scheme for.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything negative about Jalen Reagor, because I think that he's a talented wide receiver. But Justin Jefferson was sitting there on the board.
Exactly.
And then the year before, they draft J.J. Arcega-Whiteside with DK Metcalf sitting on the board.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying that everybody knew that DK Metcalf was going to be this dominant wide receiver like he has been, because obviously he did not go in the first round. So there's 32 teams all passed on him in one round.
Right.
But when you are looking at the tail of the tape between J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and DK Metcalf, I mean, how do you look at the two of them? You literally just put them in the same room and stare at the two of them and go, huh.
Which one of these do I want on an NFL roster? And you look at, just, again, going back to scheme, like, you look at a guy like Carson Wentz, traditional pocket passer, big, strong guy, and he needs a guy like that. He would thrive with a guy like that, just a massive, big-bodied, fast guy. Just let him, let him run.
Look at his connection with Zach Ertz. That's the perfect example. DK is a more dynamic wide receiver version of Zach Ertz.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's not taking anything away from DK, because Zach Ertz is a phenomenal tight end. DK is that physical specimen.
Right.
Zach Ertz is he's not like shredded like DK is, but he's strong, he's physical, he gets open, he creates separation, he can go up and get jump balls. DK is that guy in wide receiver, faster, stronger, bigger form.
Yep.
And you put DK, could you imagine 2 years ago, DK's rookie season, putting Zach Ertz and DK Metcalf on the field together?
Yeah.
Yikes. Defenses would get crushed.
Yeah. So that's the direction these guys are going, is that's everything that's happening in Philadelphia right now, is you're putting just at best replacement level talent out there. Talent and yeah, I mean, every team, like you said, has hindsight, we coulda, woulda, shoulda, but the consistency with which they've done that, this isn't a one-off. Oh my God, somebody, Bobby Wagner got drafted in the second round, for crying out loud, right? So there's those guys out there who everybody looks at because, hey, you consistently miss on those guys, and they had 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They got 10 picks last year. They've got 11 picks this year. And you have confidence in them to make the right pick with that. Whether that's in the first round, when you say it's a 50% success rate with these guys, or it's finding somebody like a DK Metcalf or a Bobby Wagner or a Russell Wilson in the mid to late rounds of these guys who are contributing. And you look at these teams that draft well and the teams that do accumulate picks, like we've been talking about with Miami, Seattle in 2010, they drafted a lot of guys and they hit with a lot of those guys. And even the guys who weren't superstars were contributors. And what are they even contributing to in Philadelphia? It's been such a disaster in every facet of the game, whether it's the talent that they put on the field, the front office decisions, and then just the schemes where it's just bland, vanilla. Look at the last game of the season that handed Washington the division just because they were completely non-competitive.
Yeah. Well, let's move over here real quick to the results of this trade, and let's just say the sheer intelligence of the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Dolphins draft picks over the next 3 drafts. Oh, gotta get back on the screen here.
Zero.
What's that?
So there's just none, just blank.
Yeah.
Just ruined it.
2021, so the upcoming draft, sitting with the number 6 and the number 18 in the first round. Round 2, 36 and number 50. So in the first 50 picks, they have 4 draft picks. That's crazy. Then you get into round 3, they have number 81. They have no 4th rounder. Number 5, they've got pick number 156, and then no 6th rounder, and then they get 2 7th rounders, 231 and 258. So Dolphins are just stockpiling. Let's move over to 2022, and just in the first 3 rounds, they have the pick from San Francisco because they traded away their pick to Philadelphia, and then they have their own pick in round 2. And then they own their own and San Francisco's round 3 next year. In 2023, they have their own and San Francisco's again. And then obviously 2nd and 3rd rounders of their own. And between now and the 23 draft, I'm kind of expecting them to own at least 2 more first round draft picks.
Yeah, because for me, putting myself in a GM's shoes, what I want going into a draft is control. I want the ability to look at a guy or guys and say, this is what my team needs, and I know I can meet those needs in this draft, right? And that's what San Francisco has removed from themselves. That's what Philadelphia has removed from themselves. They're locked into a position. So just in those first 4 picks this year, Miami has 3,400 points of draft capital, according to the latest trade value chart, right? The first overall pick is 3,000 points. So if the guy that they want, if they want Kyle Pitts, right, tight end out of Florida, who I'm extremely high on, if they want to go get him from Atlanta, they can do that. Easy, right? For them, it's a 200-point swing, and they can afford to overpay to move up those 2 spots. Or if they say, oh, the guy, all these guys that we thought were going to come off the board, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are still there. We got 3 guys, right? Seattle made a living doing this earlier in the 2010s, right? Okay, we got 3 guys who we want at number 6 overall, but all 3 of them are still on the board, and we do have them graded equally. So we're going to bump down to number 8 with Carolina and pick up another 3rd round pick and get one of the guys that we wanted. And now I have even more chances and even more chances, even more chances at young, controllable players, and then, I mean, realistically, you look at that draft stock, if they said Tua's not our guy, we want Trevor Lawrence, you think they couldn't put together a package to Jacksonville that would get them Trevor Lawrence and leave them with the majority of their draft intact? They could bump up to number 1 and literally not give up any of their draft picks.
Or what I would do is give up my own draft picks and keep all the lower tier teams, keep all San Francisco's picks. Yeah. And like they did with the Eagles, they traded their own because they're expecting to be a, number 20 or later draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
now here's the other thing, and you kind of led into this, which was perfect timing. The the real beneficiaries of the trades that just took place. Number one, the Cincinnati Bengals. Sitting at number 5 overall, they just watched a team that does not need a quarterback,
Mhm.
that could potentially select somebody that they're chasing, because since he doesn't need a quarterback. So they just watched Miami
Yep.
bump out and a team that wants a quarterback in San Francisco come in. That just gave them either Penny Sewell or Jamar Chase.
Yep. Absolutely.
Now, you have a pretty good offense with Cincinnati. Obviously, Joe Burrow had success. And if Penny Sewell's available on the board, you take him. What I would be afraid of, though, is if the Jets decide to go Penny Sewell, which they don't need him because they do have stud Mekhi Becton. They don't need a left tackle. So, but again, then you got Jamar Chase. Atlanta's not taking Jamar Chase. They already have Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones. They're not going to take Jamar Chase. At least I doubt it. There's just not enough targets to have Jamar Chase on the roster. So at that point, then where's Atlanta going? Does Atlanta go quarterback? Or does Atlanta maybe trade out? I don't believe they would make a trade with Carolina.
I am virtually certain Atlanta takes Kyle Pitts.
That would make sense.
That
would make a lot of sense. He's your tight end. He's going to pick up some. He's going to pick up some targets, but he doesn't need to be the dynamic number 1 wide receiver.
Exactly. And in fact, he's so consistent. I love watching that kid play football. So that's something that Atlanta has just really truly lacked on the offensive side of the ball for. I mean, honestly, I'd say since like Roddy White left, with how Julio's gotten injured, Matt Ryan has been kind of streaky, dealt with his own issues. So a really consistent tight end for the next few years, I think, would really help that team out. So
since they had Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, exactly. So I could really see them going Kyle Pitts, and then like you said, and then that puts you in a position of Cincinnati where you could look at realistically 3 wide receivers in conversation for that spot probably, and that's just wide receivers. So are you then gonna, what about Detroit? Went out and got Jared Goff. Are they gonna want to move up, make a play for somebody?
But if you're Cincy, why? And I get weapons are sexy. Weapons put points on the board. But you know what also puts points on the board? Keeping your starting quarterback healthy. And that's where I don't see them going anywhere outside of Penny Sewell.
Yeah.
And if I'm Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow was apparently lobbying for Cincinnati to draft his former LSU teammate.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I'm Joe Burrow, I'm going, please get me offensive line. Keep me healthy.
You guys realize my career almost ended, right?
Oh, yeah. He was the second most hit quarterback before he got injured. He was the third most sacked quarterback before he got injured. There's a reason he got injured.
Mm-hmm.
His body just got abused.
Yeah, definitely the biggest need right there for them. Yeah, so let me circle back though real quick, because if you look at that, then you're Miami and you have just seen the top 3 quarterbacks go off the board, one of them to the number 3 spot that you just traded out of.
Yep.
Right. Atlanta, probably Kyle Pitts.
Makes sense.
Definitely not wide receiver. Cincinnati, 90% sure, yeah, like you said, Penny Sewell, probably not wide receiver. So you have gone down, accumulated a boatload of draft picks, and you still
got Jamar Chase.
And you still got, Jamar Chase or Devonta Smith or, whoever you want there. Yeah. And you could honestly, I'm a little bit of the opinion that Devonta Smith is the guy I'd want. And so I would even see if I could go down a few picks, accumulate some more, and get him.
I can see going down a couple picks if you trade with somebody who's going for a quarterback. Yeah. But I don't see Devonta Smith going that early. I just don't see running back going that high. And I mean, I could see one of the top, one of the other wide receivers outside of Jamar Chase going in the top 10. Maybe one wide receiver, but you're going to see at least one linebacker go in the top 10.
Yep.
And obviously Penny Sewell. I don't, man, I like the idea of them trading back. Now, Miami trading with Carolina, I can see that happening. I know Atlanta won't do it. Atlanta's not going to enter
Right.
division.
Atlanta's not.
But Miami trading back with Carolina, trading back 2 picks. So then Carolina goes up. Carolina then potentially drafts Trey Lance, Mac Jones. I personally think that Trey Lance would be the better option there.
Yeah.
And then who's at number 7?
Detroit.
So then Detroit's on the board. Then you just have to worry, does Detroit go...
Detroit with a massive need a wide receiver.
Right. Especially with Kenny Golladay leaving. So I would probably say Jamar Chase doesn't make it past number 7.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is, can you get down into the 8, 9, 10 range, pick up another second round pick? What is that? 200-300 points? Second or third round pick right there. Just another mid round pick, and you still get the guy you want or very close to it. Because you look at the guys who are out there, you've talked about this a lot recently, just the amount of great wide receiving talent that's coming out there. You've got Devonta Smith, you've got Jalen Waddle, you've got Rashad Bateman. You've got these guys out there who are going to be threats at the next level and guys you can bank on. And can you get one of them and still get some more draft capital?
Right. And that's the thing, between Smith and Jamar Chase. So then you're at a situation, if you do trade back with Carolina and you're the number 8, then it's kind of the same situation with San Francisco trading up, and it's whatever quarterback is available. Mm-hmm. Well, if you trade behind Detroit, you're whatever wide receiver is available.
Exactly.
But is it worth that to pick up an additional first rounder next year?
Yeah, and that to me it depends on where you have those guys graded, because I'm a lot more comfortable saying wide receivers are more comparable across the board, especially at the top level, than quarterbacks. You look at DK Metcalf, going back to your list from before I jumped on. How many of those guys were top 10 picks, and how many of them were mid to late first round? How many of them were second round picks? So recently, the last 5 years especially, we've seen really good receiving talents later in the first round, and even into the second and third round. So I'm a lot more comfortable taking a best available wide receiver than I am best available quarterback.
Yeah. Well, and just from the last, let's just go 10 years, out of first rounders, the first rounders that have been better hits have been offensive linemen,
mm-hmm.
linebackers, and defensive backs.
Yeah.
You have not had consistent quarterback play out of first rounders long term, pre 2017, I should say.
Right.
Running backs have been hit or miss, which is why they've declined in value in a draft greatly.
Mm-hmm.
Wide receivers have been, in the first round, less than stellar. Several of them barely making opening day roster.
Yeah.
Tight ends. Have we had any big? I mean, Dallas Goedert was the last first round tight end I can think of.
I feel like there's been a couple, but that's the point. And I feel like there's a little bit more of, right? The college game translates so much better as a wide receiver than it does as a quarterback. And that gap is closing in a lot of ways. But as a wide receiver, it's, are you fast? Can you run? And can you catch? And you can obviously throw a lot of other elements in there. But there's not as big a difference between how the game is played, between how your position is played. So you can really pretty effectively, generally, know who's going to make it, know who's going to be successful by watching their tape and seeing what they actually do. So I think there's a lot of those guys available in this draft, which is again why I think Miami's just in the driver's seat, especially if they stick with Tua and just say, hey, we're going to go get you a great wide receiver, you know, and just stock that. And especially if you can pick up a couple more, right? Because they are a little bit lacking in 4th, 5th, 6th round picks. They're missing a lot of those picks, and not that necessarily you need a ton of those, but when there's that guy, you're like, oh my God, how is this guy available? Like I remember when Doug Baldwin was an undrafted free agent, and I watched a ton of him play at Stanford, and I was just like, how is this guy not a 2nd round pick? And he just went on to have a stellar career. So you want the ability to get those guys, the DK Metcalfs, the Tyler Lockett's, the guys who you're like, oh my God, what is this guy doing available in the middle of the 3rd round? So I would really not be surprised at all if Miami picks up a few mid-round picks in the 1st round of this draft, probably on draft day itself, as somebody goes, oh my God, my guy's sitting there at number 6, and Miami's like, yeah, we don't need that guy. So yeah,
well, and keep in mind they still have the number 18. So even if they don't trade the number 6, they still have the 18.
And that's it exactly. That's why I say they're just absolutely in control. They have so much draft capital. If there's a guy they want to get, they can go get him. And if they have 3 or 4 guys equally rated at number 6, at number 18, they're going to do what John Schneider has just made a career out of doing and going, okay, I'm going to bump back 3, 4 spots.
Yep.
You guys, your team needs this guy. I need one of these guys, and I know he's going to be there.
Well, and let's say, just for the sake of it, we get past the 1, 2, 3, which is expected to be Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and Justin Fields. And then all of a sudden, we go the next 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 picks, and there's a slide on quarterbacks, and all of a sudden, Mac Jones is on the board, Trey Lance is on the board, and everybody's going, oh, these guys were supposed to go in the top 10. Why are they still on the board? And all of a sudden, later 1st round team or somebody not in the 1st round goes, hey, we need to make a trade. And all of a sudden, Miami's sitting there on 2 extra 1st round draft picks as somebody jumps up to 18.
Yeah, and it could potentially happen. And this is where mock drafts always make me nervous, because how much of it is based on what actual NFL personnel are saying, and how much of it is based on what fans are saying, right? Because it's really easy for us to sit here and look at that and go, oh my God, Mac Jones put up numbers and did all of this and X, Y, and Z. But that's not what, talent evaluators in the NFL are looking at. So are they really going to look at that and go, this is a 1st round guy? Or is that just all the noise that starts to creep up this time of year because we have nothing else to talk about other than spring training? So we're sitting here going, oh, well, this quarterback did great and he was great for this. But during the season, like you said, we looked at him and said mid-round talent. And is that still how most NFL teams are looking at them? Now, are there teams that absolutely buy into hype and make those decisions? Yeah, absolutely. So that could happen. And like, I think you and I talked about it a month or so ago. Like, is there really going to be 5 quarterbacks in the 1st round?
I'm still, and don't get me wrong, there's talent.
Right.
I don't necessarily believe Mac Jones is a 1st rounder, and he could end up having a very long and successful career. He could be. He has not struck me as a 1st rounder.
Draft stock. The only thing a 1st round, the only thing that there's any correlation is you get a million chances as a backup, because somebody still goes, oh, you're Matt Leinart, you got drafted in top 10, and so you get a million chances, despite the fact that you're obviously a terrible quarterback, with all due respect to Matt Leinart, but he's kind of weird. So that's where I sit on it, is are you looking at it as, oh, is this guy a 1st round talent, or is this guy going to have a long and successful career, but the entire rest of the NFL is looking at him as a 4th rounder, and so I can get him in the 3rd round. Mm-hmm. There's the great story about when Seattle drafted Bobby Wagner, and Pete Carroll is like jumping up and down, like losing his mind, because he's like, we have got to take Russell Wilson here, and John Schneider's like, no, he's going to be there in the 3rd round for us, but nobody else thinks he's that great. Sure enough, So now you got 2 Hall of Famers for the price of 1. So if your talent evaluation is spot on, and if you have the draft capital to control where you need to pick, which I think Seattle's gotten away from, but that's a conversation for a different day. But that's where Miami is putting together a successful football team, and Philadelphia and San Francisco are not. Miami is at least bringing in contributors. Like, half the league didn't think Myles Gaskin should be a running back at all. Didn't think he could hack it. And look at how well he did last year. Now, I don't think he's going to be a main guy, but he's a very effective runner, especially in space and especially in the kind of offense that Miami runs. And now you look at the draft capital that they're stocking up on, and they are in control of that board. They can get anybody that they need at any time, and they have the flexibility to move back and accumulate even more, not just this year, but like you said, for the next 3 years, including this year. So that's the thing that really starts to separate these teams, is when you put yourself in control of who you draft, where you draft them, and instead of going, oh my God, my only chance to get a contributing wide receivers at number 6 overall, you can look at the wide receivers who are there and go, oh yeah, well, I've also got number 18 and number 36 and number 50. And you bet your ass at every single one of those spots, there's going to be a contributing wide receiver available. So you've put yourself in a position where you never have to reach for a guy. Whereas now San Francisco, Philadelphia, they have to reach for a guy. They do not have a choice because they're locked into those picks. They have no draft capital to do anything else except maybe move back if they get really lucky. But that's not how the NFL operates. So that's the thing that just starts to separate good teams from bad.
Well, in Philadelphia, trading back in the first round this year, trading back to get dropped down to 12 actually was a good move for them. And I believe that that's going to help them get on that pace for acquiring draft picks. And again, they've been good, I should say, with acquiring draft capital. The problem is their talent evaluation has been so bad.
Yeah,
they're not drafting properly.
10 last year and 11 draft picks this year. Their best draft pick last year was Jalen Hurts. Okay, maybe, like you said, maybe he turns out to have a long, great career and develops, and they are able to put talent around him. But are you making that bet right now?
But they did it under the guise of having signed a mega deal with Carson Wentz, and that's the stupid thing about it, is the mismanagement. Now, if Carson was on the last year of his deal,
right,
and they draft Jalen Hurts, whatever. If they hadn't just signed him to a mega deal and they draft Jalen Hurts, whatever. Nobody would be giving them crap. But the fact that it killed their cap number.
Yeah. And how they approached it, they didn't say, well, we need a backup because obviously we can't pay the stupid deal that Nick Foles just got. That he is, I mean, in a way earned, but definitely is not, was never going to be that guy. So they're like, yeah, you approach that and say, we need a backup quarterback, not, hey, I know we just signed you to this mega deal, but we're also bringing in somebody to also compete with you. Just mind-boggling decision making.
Absolutely. Okay, Dean. Well, it's 7:35. I gotta get you out of here, man. I appreciate you being on, and we'll bring you on. We are planning on a live mock draft with you and Mark Magana in a couple weeks. We're working on coordinating that. I am working on getting the cameras figured out somehow on my screen, but we are going to do it, and we're going to do a full first round mock with both Dean and Mark and myself. So appreciate you being on here, man.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Always fun. Have a good night tonight, and we'll catch you later. Ladies and gentlemen, Dean Smith Richard.
Later.
All right. Whew. That got some depth in that conversation. That's if anybody has ever been around Dean and I just sitting around shooting the shit on sports, that is literally our conversations. And that's why him and I can just go unscripted for an entire show, because that is our conversations. So it's I get a kick out of it. Anyway, if you guys aren't following him already, follow him on Twitter. It's @DeanOnSports. And you'll get some Seahawk evals, you'll get Mariners talk. Dean's a big baseball guy, and I'm looking forward to actually having Dean do some Mariners and Rainiers corresponding for me this coming season. We've still got more stuff to get to. I'm going to have to skip part of what I was going to do. I was going to, talk a little pre-draft quarterbacks coming up. We kind of did that with Dean, but we're going to skip most of that tonight because we still have to get to our box break tonight, and we got to do our giveaway. We still have our giveaway for the Seattle Children's Heroes Tops set that I'm going to give away tonight because we crossed the 300 subscriber mark, and because I don't have a way to run a giveaway for all of the followers or all the subs on YouTube. YouTube will not provide me with the list, which is really stupid. I'm just going to have to do it live viewers on the show. So whoever's watching here in a little while, everybody that's on is going to have a chance to win this, and I'll be giving that away. Our live break tonight, our live rip, I should say, is newly released 2021 Heritage Baseball by Topps. That's going to be our break tonight. Before I get into that, I didn't mention it earlier. I am getting ready to get everything set up for the card show this coming weekend in Everett. If you're going to be in the area, go check it out. It's going to be at the Everett Mall on Saturday from 10 to 4. It's going to be in the hallways. There's going to be at least 70 tables, I believe was the last count I got from the coordinator for the show. 70 tables at this show. Comic books, sports cards, memorabilia, vintage and modern and ultra modern sports cards, gaming, Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Funko Pops, lots of stuff like that. There's going to be a lot to go through. I'll have 2 tables, one of Funko Pops, one of sports cards. Working on getting a bunch of boxes put together. That's going to be a pretty good sized show. First show at the Everett Mall that I know of. So, all right, I'm gonna pause this for a second. I'm gonna switch screens over real quick to the break camera because I still don't have the video camera set up. I got a video camera and I was messing around with it this week. Couldn't get it to stream to my computer. Did a little research and I'm missing a piece for basically for encoding it to my computer. So I'm getting that, a converter this week, and I'm going to get a big one so that it can handle multiple cameras for when we get the studio built this coming summer, and then we can actually have the full effect of multiple camera angles. And then Dean can come and be in studio as well because Dean lives down the hill from me. All right, I'm going to switch screens real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. I did not, David. I heard that there was an error, but I didn't hear what it was. Was it something about a card was left out of the set? If I heard something about, I didn't know who it was or what it was. I just heard that something apparently was left out of Heritage. So I don't quite know what the full story is. I have not done the research on it yet, though. No, I did not. So they left out the Kevin Biggio base card completely, which means they'll probably put it in high number as a bonus card, basically, kind of like how they do the high number cards in Heritage low number. So Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Well, we're going to rip a box of Heritage right now, and obviously we will not be pulling the Kevin Biggio base card. So here is our box of 21... Oops, wrong side. 21 Topps Heritage. And if you have not seen the product or ripped a hobby box, you get either a real one autograph or a relic card in every box. You get 24 packs per box, 9 cards per pack. So this is a lengthy rip, which I'm going to try to fly through this once I get through the first couple of packs. And you get a box topper, and our box topper ends up as Vladdy Jr. And there are autograph versions of these as well. So here's our jumbo box topper. And as I said, 24 packs, 9 cards per pack. I'm just going to take all these out, make it a little bit easier so I have more room. And of course I didn't get all of the packs out. Alright, there's our 24 packs. So I'm going to show off the first pack pretty much, and then from there, oh, I need to move my camera a little bit more. And then from there, I'm just going to fly through pretty quick, except for highlights. So here are your dual rookie cards. So we start off with a rookie, Joe Adell and Nick Madrigal. And then here are the base cards. And if we do happen to get any variants or short prints, they actually, instead of having to look at that wee tiny little code right there, instead, it's all listed right here inside this little bubble. It'll say what the short print variation is. So Nick Castellanos, Tyler Mull, Trevor May, Keston, and then here's an in action. This is part of the set. It's just a subset within the base set. AJ Pollock, Eloy in action, and Hyun Ryu. So we're going to fly through this, except for getting our hit. I do have a few boxes of this left as well. Thank you for saying that, David. I do have a few boxes of this left on sportstuffhub.com. Go check it out. Boom. There we go. Juan Soto. And at the moment, I couldn't even tell you what I've got them at. I'll tell you in a second. Right now, I have a few boxes of Topps baseball, different Topps baseball. I've got Heritage at 120, opening day at 45, and Series 1 Hobbies at 135. I've got a few boxes left of each, so if anybody wants, I can get it shipped out tomorrow. Garrett Cole, Freddie Galvis. RBI leaders, then and now insert. Dick Allen and Carlos Santana. In action rookie of Jake Cronenworth. And then rookie stars, Burrows, Funkhauser, and Garcia. Yeah, I should still have some opening day at the show, Tony. I think I've got, I want to say I've got about a half case left at the moment. So unless they sell out on the website between now and then, yes, I should have some with me. And we get a Spencer Howard in action rookie. Yeah, I try to always bring any wax that I have to the shows. And rookie stars, Devi Garcia, Ian Anderson, and Christian Javier. Boyhood Photos of the Stars. This is a cool set. Those are not an insert, they're just base subset. And rookie stars for the Yankees, Albert Abreu, Miguel Yager, and Nick Nelson. Tatis. And we get a Boyhood Photos of the Stars, Chris Bubich, rookie. Bubich. Bubich. Oh, guys, we got a Chrome card coming up. We get a Ramon Laureano Chrome out of 572. Right on. Refractor, Ramon Laureano. That might be the first refractor I've pulled from a hobby box, I think, ever. Jeff McNeil, New Age Performers insert. Yeah, those chromes do look really nice. Rookie stars for the Marlins, Lewin Diaz, Monty Harrison, and Nick Neidert. And we get an in-action Ryan Mountcastle rookie. Another rookie stars, Casey Mize and Tariq Skubal. Luis Robert in action. Rookie stars Cody Whitley and Roel Ramirez. Roel Ramirez. Can't friggin' talk some days. I have to start doing mouth exercises with breaks coming up. No, Gypsy Queen was pushed back to July. It was actually pushed back a while ago. They just didn't update the calendars. Rookie of the Year award insert. Base card, sorry. And then Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette. There's the World Series subset. Oh, come on, let's get something good. Flashbacks, Bilingual Cameroon Unites. In action, and there's another one of just standing there. Starling Marte. That's action. Action shot right there. Batting leaders. Boyhood Photos of the Stars, Lizardo. Acuna in action. These packs aren't wanting to rip very nice. Devin Williams, Rookie Cup. Rookie Trophy, excuse me. ERA leaders, Alec Boehm in action rookie. Oh yeah, Jordan. They've been 150, 200, as much as 250 I've seen today. And we get a Christian Yelich variation. This is the action variation. See there, right on the inside of the bubble there, it says action. Christian Yelich. Nice card. The great one, Roberto Clemente. These inserts, I believe, are 1 per box. It's a 15-card Roberto Clemente set or 20-card Roberto Clemente set. But, like I said, they're about 1 per box. Yeah, it's going to be impossible to afford singles this year. Bubic and McKenzie, dual rookie. All right, we are officially into the last stack. We still have an either autograph or jersey card coming up, or I should say memorabilia card. Nothing big in that pack. Brian Hayes in action, rookie. And there's our jersey card, Jason Hayward, Clubhouse Collection. And then Ryan Mountcastle, Boyhood Photos of the Stars, rookie. And then rookie stars, Tanner Hoke and Sam Huff. It's been hard to pull autos out of this. Ooh, what is this? Piece of card. New Age Performers, Ian Happ. Boyhood Photos of the Stars, rookie Spencer Howard. And we're down to 4 packs left. It might be a while till Griffey gets the honor of a Legends set like that. It's probably going to have to wait until he passes away, unfortunately. Rookie stars, Paredes, Taylor, and Jones. Blake Taylor and Taylor Jones. All right. Nate Pearson in action, rookie. 3 packs left. It is. I do like it. It can get a little bit exhausting doing rips of this, which is why I probably will not do group breaks of Heritage. It's not a break friendly product. Kybert Ruiz and Mitch White, rookie stars. I like ripping a box here and there, but it is... usually if I'm ripping one solo myself, I get through one and I'm like, okay, well, I'm done. Pache and Luis Garcia, rookie stars. And last pack, guys. Rookie stars, Sanchez and Colomb. New Age Performers, Ian Anderson, rookie. And that's it. That wraps up one box of 21 Topps Heritage Baseball, highlighted by a Christian Yelich photo variation, a Clubhouse Collection jersey, Jay Hay, Jason Hayward, and a refractor chrome, Ramon Laureano. Oh boy, okay. So, I'm going to give away the Jay Hay, Hay. Give away the Jay Hay. And I'm going to give away the action variation of Christian Yelich. Since those were really the two better cards in this box anyways. So I'll give away those two. And then we're still going to give away the Seattle Children's box as well. Oh. Okay, so if you want entered into the drawing tonight, all you got to do is just type me in the chat, M-E, me, in the chat, and I will put your name down. That's going to get you entered for all three prizes, the Seattle Children's box, and to win the two cards. M-E in the chat, me. Alright, let's start getting people entered. Oh, I missed somebody. Miller. Get yourselves entered. Find the dice roller here. We're going to get this dice roll done while I'm waiting for people to get entered. We don't do snake eyes. Bad luck. 10. We're going to randomize the list 10 times. Get yourselves entered. Get yourselves entered. What do we have for NBA games tonight? Was there anything good tonight? Schedule. I'm going to give it another moment or so. Just type me in chat if you want entered. We had the Hornets beat the Whiz Kids tonight. Thank you for adding that, David. The Nug Nugs are up over the Sixers with 3.5 to go. We got Hawks and Suns tonight at halftime, and we got the Clips and the Magic at half. Not a lot of games tonight. Fantastic. All right, anybody else? Anybody else want entered? Get your name in the entry to win. We got 3 prizes tonight. The Jay Hay jersey card, the Christian Yelich action variation, and the Seattle Children's Heroes box. which the Seattle Children's Heroes box has one autograph per box. You could potentially get Ken Griffey Jr. You could potentially get Russell Wilson. You could potentially get Sierra. You could potentially get Detlef Schrempf. You could potentially get Macklemore. Or Bismarcky. Wait, was it Bismarcky? Yeah. Or was it Sir Mix-a-Lot? Sir Mix-a-Lot, not Bismarcky. My bad. Mitch Haniger. You could get Kyle Seager. Dan Wilson. Cliff Averill. Edgar Martinez. Lots and lots and lots of names that you could get out of that box. So get yourselves entered. And don't forget, guys, get your friends in here, because the bigger I get this, the more we can do for giveaways. I get more tune-ins, and I can do more, I have more leverage for getting people to donate stuff. So can always do stuff the more we get. All right, well, we've given it almost 5 minutes, so we're going to roll with the 5 people we have entered. I know Tony's still in here, but I know Tony is very gracious and wants other people to get the winnings. Donnie, there you go. I knew you were hanging around here somewhere. Yes, the like button too. I'm sorry to hear that, Donnie. But let's get this random drawing going here so that we can award some prizes here tonight. All right. So I already rolled the dice, as you guys saw a few minutes ago. We're going to randomize the list 10 times. And let's get going. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4, number 5, number 6, 7, 8, 9, and by the way, before I hit number 10, the top spot is winning the Seattle Children's box. I just realized I didn't establish the order. 1, 2 is getting the J-Hay, 3 is getting the Yelich action variation, photo variation. So our winners tonight, on the 10th and final click of the randomizer, are Shane, getting the Seattle Children's box. Congratulations to Shane. Anthony, getting the J-Hay, Jason Hayward Clubhouse Collection jersey from Heritage Baseball. And Donnie, getting the Christian Yelich photo variation action. Congratulations to our winners tonight. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Congratulations, winners. I will be right back. Okay, fun rip tonight, fun show tonight. Thanks again for Dean joining tonight and talking, going in a little bit deep on our draft trades that took place the last few days. I missed what happened. Gave the speech with me sitting on top, had me anxious. Yeah, I completely missed saying what order everything was going to be in, so I figured I'd wait with the number 9 spot and one more random. Okay, so this weekend, if you are around, make sure you check out the Everett Card Show at the Everett Mall, or Evergreen Mall, whatever it's called these days. It's the only mall in Everett that I'm aware of. Check that out from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Again, going to be about 70 tables set up. I don't know if I'm going to have regular top loaders after all, because looking excuse me, looking at my packing slip or my order acknowledgement, it looked like they maybe left off my case of top loaders, which is unfortunate. But if that's the case, then that's the case. I will have one touches, standard one touches, though. I will have a decent amount of those, so I'll have those, and then I'll have sleeves as well, and various other supplies. Following weekend, we have the Portland Card Show, but I'll touch base on that on the next show. Make sure you guys are checking out Sports Stuff Hub on the regular, adding a lot of inventory to it. I know several of you guys shop there quite frequently. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate. I want to get website traffic up as best possible, as well as sales on it, just so I'm not always relying on the card show sales. But there will be more boxes added to the website as well coming up. We're kind of in a little bit of a slow period for boxes. But with breaks coming up, I will probably be focusing a lot of inventory towards breaks. The product like Opening Day, Heritage, base card heavy products, you're going to see on the website more for box sales. And I will be doing breaks with the more break friendly stuff, except I am going to do a break of Prism basketball as well. I'm trying to decide if I want to do random team or if I want to do pick your team. But we will be setting all that stuff up. The breaks tab will go live this week, and next week I will add the breaks to. I'll give everybody about a week to buy in on the breaks. So I think that about covers it, guys. I appreciate you guys being on here, and like I said, get your friends in here. Anybody that you know that likes sports chat, anything like that, get them in here. Let's get this channel hopping. Get people subbed. I want to be able to do the 500 sub here, the giveaway for that, and then I want to be able to announce the 1,000 sub giveaway, because it's gonna be pretty dang nice. Anyway, I appreciate you guys hanging out, and thank you very much. And again, thanks to Dean for joining tonight. And I will catch you guys later. Stay safe out there. Have a good one.